Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're so excited you're here. We have a few early birds in the house. Hi, Allison. Hi, Amadi. Hi, Casey, Emily, Aaron, Gianna. I'm getting the YouTube stream live up, so forgive me. I want to make sure I'm not echoing. Okay, and we are live on YouTube as well. Hi, Katrina. Hi, Kelly, Kristen, Lauren, May, Molly, Nadisha, Sharuti. Hello, Katarina. Hi, everyone. We're so excited to see you all here. You all are early, right on time. This is absolutely fantastic. So we are just delighted to be here today. My name is Windsor Western. I'm one of the co-founders of Her Canvas Media, and Generation Hired is thrilled to be partnering with Neutrogena for today's event, where we're talking about careers and innovation in skincare and all of the different ways you can get involved in the beauty industry with a career in skincare, whether that be on the business side, on the science side, on the technical side, lots and lots of options. So as everyone is joining, I want to hear from all of you who are here, all of our Generation Hired members. So please click on the little chat button at the bottom of your screen and drop in what your name, your college or university, your graduation year, and if you have a favorite Neutrogena product, we want to hear about that too. I will start. My name is Windsor Western. I graduated from Harvard College in 2010, and my favorite Neutrogena product is anything from the pink grapefruit line. I just think it smells so yummy, and I am big on that. So that's my favorite, and go ahead and drop them into the chat so we can get started. Excellent. So while everyone is introducing themselves, Nicole, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Doran. I'm a brand manager on our Neutrogena business. Super excited to be here with you today. I graduated from Northeastern University in 2012. At Northeastern, whoop whoop, anybody? Hopefully. Super excited to be here, and I will kick it over to Julie to introduce herself as well.
Thanks, Nicole. Hi, everyone. I'm Julie Bianchini. I'm a principal scientist working on Neutrogena facial products. I graduated from Rutgers University in molecular biology, biochemistry in 2010, and then I went to Stanford for my PhD and finished in about 5 years in California, so 2015, and then started working with Johnson & Johnson right around that time. So super excited to be here. I love Hydra Boost. I work on Hydra Boost. I would eat it if I could. It's just amazing. And it's just, I love having a really awesome hydrator as part of my daily facial routine.
Awesome. Well, Julie, Nicole, thank you all so much for being here. And all of you, I'm seeing your chats just pop in. Oh, go Huskies from Katrina. Amazing.
Yay!
Molly from UCF Advertising and PR. You love the hyaluronic acid serum. Oh, and Molly also dropped in her Instagram. If you guys want to follow Molly, everyone should. Hi, Namra. You're a senior in fashion business at FIT, graduating May 2022. Love Hydra Boost. Allison also loves Hydra Boost, graduating in December with a business marketing degree from Ohio State. Kelly is a medical student in Arizona. There's her Instagram, also Hydra Boost. Lots of Hydra Boost fans. May is a 2017 grad, also Hydra Boost. Neutrogena makeup wipes from Jackie. Excellent. So lots of engagement. So keep those chats coming. We want this to be interactive. We want to chat with all of you. So I want to thank you all for tuning into today's webinar presented by Neutrogena. I'm going to drop in a little disclosure, just sharing the fact that we are recording this, and it will live after the fact on generationhired.com. Excellent. With that, I have one more reminder for all of you, that is the Faces of the Future grant program. So we are currently accepting applications. You can win a big, no strings attached grant from Neutrogena. So please apply. Check that out right here. This is the link directly to the application. So please go ahead and check that out, because we would love to see your applications. Amazing. And with that, let's dive in. So Julie, tell us again, what is your title?
So I'm a principal scientist. So I work in the R&D space for Neutrogena. Specifically, my role is a product developer. So I actually create and formulate the products that you all use and love. And I have spent time in technology development space, so creating the next generation of anti-aging and hydration technologies, as well as in the product development space. So everything from the formulation all the way up to the launch of the product.
That's amazing. And you said you got your PhD. So again, tell us about your academic background that you took to get into this field.
Yeah, so my background is really focused on biology, and now I've kind of really honed in on skin biology specifically. As an undergrad, I studied molecular biology and biochemistry, so I was really interested in all of the mechanisms of how the cells within our body were functioning. And then when I went to do my PhD, I focused a lot more in understanding the regulation of how epithelial cells, so these are the cells that are found in your body that kind of hold everything together, how that is regulated, and the proteins that coordinate the process of cell adhesion and migration.
That is amazing. That's amazing. And welcome. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you.
And Nicole, you are a brand manager. So what does that mean?
Yes, absolutely. And I always think Julie's job is just so cool when she explains it. So I'm a brand manager for Neutrogena, and that means a lot of things. I get to manage the brand strategy, the direction that we're going in, what the brand looks like, what our big campaigns are, what products we're promoting at any given time, the commercials that you see on television, and really get to work with our retailers in how our brand shows up in store, and what you see as a consumer from your TV all the way to your retailers to .com, anything that you see online. And hopefully what you see is something very cohesive coming from our brand. But it's a really fun job. And I get to work with Julie in developing new products and bringing those to life as well.
That's amazing. So tell me more about how the two of you work together. We have the scientific and technical side, and then the business and marketing side. So how do you all collaborate professionally?
Yeah, I can start. From my perspective, it's really a hand-in-hand process. And I think people that end up being very successful in any business, but really in the skincare business, need to know a little bit of both languages. So the more business savvy I have, the easier it is for me to have conversations with Nicole. And I think vice versa. The marketing organization spends a lot of time understanding the background science behind our products and behind the skin, because we like to think of ourselves as overall experts in skin health at Neutrogena. And so, we collaborate from anything from the concepts to the scientific rationale or reason to believe behind the products, or how we're going to communicate on the technology that's in the products that's actually helping your skin.
Amazing. So talking about helping your skin, skincare is so important, and is something that I think there's a lot of energy and excitement around, and people are super curious about taking care of their skin. And what used to be, I think we all graduated from college at around the same time, and my college skincare routine was only makeup remover wipes. That was it, right?
Yeah.
That was like, I'm just going to use that, and then I would just go to sleep. There was no moisturizing.
It's a good one to start with.
It is a great one to start with.
Good one.
The ones are like the clutch ones, but that was the only step. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't have serums. I didn't really use moisturizers. I would use SPF only at the beach. Right. And I'll think back on this, and there are so many additional steps. So as our members or the young women tuning in today are thinking about what products are right for their skin, or what ingredients are right for their skin, where should they look? Julie, you're like the ingredient expert and guru, right? You study this, you formulate these products. So how can people figure out what's exactly right for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first and foremost, skincare is a form of self-care, and it's the face that we present to the world. You want to have the most beautiful, healthy skin possible, because then in your natural state, it allows you to enhance with makeup. It allows you to go au naturel and just put your best face forward. So I think having a very stable skincare routine is essential for just maintaining a healthy outlook on life. And so we have a lot of tools for that at Neutrogena. We've been studying skin for as long as we've been a brand. And you can check out our website, Neutrogena.com. We have a lot of tools like the Neutrogena 360 app that really allow you to tailor a personalized skincare routine and regimen based off of your skin concerns, because we all have different things. I'm Italian, I have oily skin, so there's a lot of different products specific for that. Also sunscreen, you want to be using a daily SPF within either your moisturizer or as part of your regimen, so that you're preventing your skin from any type of damage that you could have susceptibility to throughout the day.
Awesome. And I just dropped in a link that is my favorite part of the Neutrogena website. So definitely check that out and just click around. I think it's awesome that it's a brand that's so focused on education and making sure people know, all the different ways that they can make their skin the best it possibly can be. So speaking of educating people, I think it's really interesting to think through being the brand manager, Nicole, and being on the marketing side, and just how much direction you have in the way that people understand the brand, the way that people see how Neutrogena shows up in the world, right? So Julie, you're formulating the products and coming up with them. And then Nicole, you're telling the story of those products and making sure people know about them. So do you have a campaign that you're the most proud of?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I think you said it so beautifully, it's a really privileged position to be in, that Julie's now worked so hard on these products, right? To bring them to life, to formulate them so that consumers will love them. And I get to take them and bring them to the market, and always hope that I do her proud, of course. But it's really exciting. And the latest campaign that I worked on is it's called For People with Skin, and it's our new brand launch. So new brand idea, new brand look and feel. And what's so exciting about this launch is it's really personal. And what we found when we did a study was that 130 million Americans, which is 62% of the American population, have experienced some sort of skincare inequity in their lifetime. So whether they didn't have access to a dermatologist, they didn't have the education to take the best care of their skin, they didn't think that products were designed for them. 62% of people were telling us that. And this is our campaign to really help solve that gap, to put some solutions in place to bring education in a fun, snackable, digestible way, to provide more access, to make sure that everyone has products developed specifically for their skin. And it's just been so fun to bring it to life with all of my counterparts who are from all types of places, all different functions, and bring it to life in a way that all of us feel so proud of it. And it's really exciting.
I love the campaign. I think it's genius. It's wonderful. And I think that's so great to address kind of skincare inequity, just in general. So thank you guys for doing that. So everyone here is really interested in going into a career in skincare in one way or another, right? Whether that's on the business side, whether that's on the technical side. So let's start with thinking about the two sides of the business. Let's start with the business or the marketing side. And it's maybe such a big question, but what are the career paths? I think one challenge is you're in college or you've just graduated from college and you're like, well, I love skincare, I love beauty. I think I want to do business or marketing. Now what, right? Like where do I go with that? Working at a company like Johnson & Johnson or a brand like Neutrogena, like what are those paths on your side, Nicole?
Yeah, so the good news is there are a ton of options. So obviously you can take the business marketing path like I did. You can go in the direction of sales. You can go in the direction of finance or supply chain. You can have an operational background and a more technical background like Julie does and what she'll tell you about. So there are so many options. And the great thing is these are transferable skills that you can use in many careers at many different companies that aren't just necessarily skincare. So I love that you guys are so interested in skincare and you're interested in coming to a skincare brand. We would love to have you. But the good news is you don't have to pick that yet. So continue to explore what your interests are, the areas of the business you could potentially be interested in, and then you'll be able to apply that after you learn a little bit more about what direction you want to go in.
Okay, so I want to go in, I'm just going to do some follow-up. So I want to go into business. What are the buckets? Like what bucket should I pick? And I know this may seem basic, but there's not a lot of education around that. You're a business major and maybe there's some you could do accounting or marketing or whatever, but let's say at skincare, no, it has to be within skincare. Are there kind of tracks or buckets that you would recommend people look into?
Yeah, honestly, any of those that I just spoke to are options, right? So at a skincare brand, we have all of those functions that work together to bring a product to life. So you have the technical side that develops it, like what Julie does. You have the supply chain team that makes sure that that product can get from our warehouses to a retailer. The marketers are developing the strategy, the campaign, the advertising. Our finance team is managing our budgets, working with corporate on what our targets are and all of the things that we need to hit on a yearly basis. Our sales team is selling in these awesome products to our retailers and managing that relationship on a day-to-day basis. So there really are a significant number of options within business. And that business degree is what's really setting you up for success in this space.
And so you've progressed really quickly to brand manager from being a 2012 graduate. So what were your roles? Have you been, what was your first job out of college? How long did you stay there? I'd really love to understand those steps that you took. Was it a straight ladder? Was it more of a jungle gym? What did that look like?
Yeah, definitely a jungle gym. So like I said, I went to Northeastern University, and part of Northeastern's curriculum is that you have co-op programs. So when I was there, it was still a 5-year curriculum. We had 3 6-month co-ops. So I had the opportunity to have 3 full-time jobs and a 1.5 years of work experience prior to coming out of school. And I started with J&J then. So I have actually been with J&J a little over 10 years, almost 11. And my first co-op was in a call center for J&J in medical devices. Okay. So very different from where I ended up now, right? Yep. However, what that taught me was I loved the company. I loved the people. Yep. And even though I knew I didn't want to go into medical devices, it gave me a level of job satisfaction that I knew that could be a direction that I went in for a company I wanted to work for. So I came back, I went into consumer products for J&J, wanted to sell the product, be near the retailers, ended up in sales. Again, never in a million years did I think I would be in sales. In school, I was like, sales is cold calling. I don't want to do that. Sales in a big company is not cold calling. It is managing relationships. It's working with people and building a business. And it was really fun. So I came back into the sales leadership and development program with J&J. I then moved into an analyst role. And then I started my career in LA at the Neutrogena office, and then moved across the country with J&J to go back towards Boston, which was my home, and sold to CVS for a number of years. Okay. So worked with them as a business manager, and then came back to LA to work in headquarters in sales, and then moved over to marketing. So lots of options, definitely wasn't a straight line, but allowed me to figure out what I liked, what I didn't like, where my passions were.
I think that's awesome. And I think it's super helpful to hear that it's not, you don't have to start, if you want to be senior in marketing, you don't have to start in marketing initially, and you can move around. And I bet you have such a better understanding of the product from selling it. You have a better understanding of what CVS thinks about and how they're thinking about their customers and what's going to make them tick and all of it. So that's super, super interesting. Awesome. So everyone, I'm so glad you all are here. I see some questions dropping in. So there's a Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. So click on the Q&A, you can drop in your questions and we'll get to them in just a couple of minutes. So Julie, over to you. What are the careers that exist within skincare from a scientific background? I feel like my understanding, if you're going to get a PhD, is you're just going to do research, right? You're going to go back and work at a university, you're going to be a professor, and you're going to be doing your own research. So what made you decide to work at Johnson & Johnson, and what are the other career paths on the technical side?
Yeah, so I really loved science. Always as a kid, I was always, a science person. In high school, I took every science class that you possibly could take. So I have been kind of on the straight and narrow of like, I love science and that's really what I want to do. And then after finishing my undergrad, I wanted to get more of it. I really wanted to have this tangible thing about being an expert in something. So I was fortunate to be able to go to a place like Stanford University, which was amazing and just so creative and so exciting to be in that kind of environment doing research. But then what I also learned is, although I love science, the aspect of it that I love most was really communicating the science to non-scientists and finding that bridge between where we have things that are technical and that we've discovered, but but finding a way to share them with the general population or with collaborators to really maximize and get the most out of the discoveries or the things that we were working on. So I decided then that I wanted to go into industry, and I applied to a lot of different positions. I used LinkedIn a lot. I did a lot of networking. I set up informational interviews with people that either I had a connection with or that were through my network to learn about their role and what they did in their daily job. And that allowed me to interview at a couple of different companies. I interviewed at a more technical focused company that was creating like reagents and needles and like a lot of equipment for laboratories. And then I interviewed at Johnson & Johnson at the same time. So one of the things that Nicole touched upon that was so important and really evident to me was the culture at Johnson & Johnson, and then specifically within the consumer space. And I think it's so important to find really a culture fit within a company that works with you. And now that we've all gone through this global pandemic, it's really challenged again the way that companies are defining culture and ways of working with each other. And I think it's super exciting to kind of be evaluating where you want to be, especially now as we're coming out of the pandemic and so many doors have opened. So then specifically within an R&D space, having a scientific background, it kind of is like that's the not even the limit of things. For example, like I have colleagues that have a food science background, that have a chemistry background, a biology background, people that run our clinical sites and our clinical coordinators. So there is really a gamut of different backgrounds that you can have coming into an R&D type of role. Engineers and process engineers that work with the manufacturing plants to figure out, how fast we have to mix the product in order to be able to maintain the properties of it. So I think there are a ton of different ways in which you can really maximize your background and your full potential. And then like with Cole, I've been at J&J my entire career. So I spent 5 years in graduate school, and then I've been working for J&J for the last 5 years. And I've had 3 roles within that time here. So one of the other things is that once you are in a company or in your first role, it doesn't have to be your last. And the climbing the corporate ladder of like this role, then you get a promotion, then it's, a gradual step up. I don't think that exists in that way anymore that maybe our parents' generation had. We're moving around constantly. We're trying different things. We're finding the best fit. We're gaining experiences that help us build to an overall like career position that we see ourselves in. So I've done everything from technical learning around the active ingredients to the clinical site design, to how we're imaging pictures of subjects that are using our products, to working on sunscreen formulations and formulating new mineral sunscreens for Neutrogena, to now working in the facial moisturizing and treatment space on all things Hydro Boost. So what's going to be up and coming and next for Hydro Boost, and be maintaining it as a product that you all know and love. And then that encompasses everything from writing scientific papers, presenting at meetings like the American Academy for Dermatology, working with dermatologists, all of the product development formulation stuff, and working with medical doctors as well. So really you can do anything within the technical space as long as you have a passion for science and bringing that science to life.
I love it. And we have some great comments in the chat. Tiana says, career paths aren't often linear. Thank you for highlighting this. Nicole said, exactly, Tiana, it's about learning what you love and continuing to challenge yourself. And then Kiki says, I think it's so hard to understand that being a fresh grad. So I'm constantly stressed out thinking my current position is my permanent role.
No stress. It's a journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And you're constantly building things and experiences for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
So I'm going to pop to a couple of attendee questions and then back and forth. So Nicole, how have you gained mentors along the way? Are all of your mentors at Johnson & Johnson?
Oh, that's a really great question.
Mm-hmm.
So no, not all of my mentors are at Johnson & Johnson. I do have mentors that are in the industry and in skincare that help provide an external perspective. But I think it's important to have mentors where you work, and that can be a peer mentor, and it can also be a mentor in management to help guide you along your career. I think both are super valuable in different ways. Having a peer mentor to me has been so critical, especially as I've advanced my career across sales and then into marketing. I leverage my peers constantly to help me brainstorm, to think about things differently, just to have a different perspective. because it's not linear, right? And just like you guys are saying, you know, your current position isn't the place that you're always going to be. Like having a different perspective and another person help and guide you with that is so important. So to answer the question, no, not just within J&J, but I do think that it is critical to have mentors in the company that you're in.
So talk to me about this peer mentor. Is it someone exactly at the same level as you, or is it someone who's not your manager, but maybe they've been at the company a little bit longer than you have, or in their career a little bit longer?
Yeah, so my peer mentors are typically at the same level I'm at, and often just on a different business or a category. So I came into marketing on Neutrogena cleansing. So I would leverage my counterpart on Neutrogena acne that had been in that role, done the same things that I had done, to bounce some ideas off of and get some guidance on how to get through some of those things. But you can also leverage peer mentors in a totally different function just to give you an entirely different perspective and outsider view on what you're going through. And honestly, sometimes you just need someone that you can say like, hey, like, I don't know how to handle this situation. Like, what would you do? How can you help me? And they don't need to be in your business or function to do that, to just provide you with, you know, a different perspective on the problem that you're having.
That's amazing. Awesome. Okay. What careers can I do in skincare with a communications degree? What careers would a communications degree lend you to in skincare?
Yeah, I can jump in there. So communications degrees tend to most easily lend you to a career in PR. So working with publications, working with influencers in how a brand shows up and how we communicate to the outside world. That being said, I think a communications degree can also lend you to marketing or to sales, to branding. It's all about how you communicate a product and what we're bringing to life for a message, which I think is very translatable across business.
Awesome.
And we have communications partners within our organization. So they're focusing on trying to help us, you know, drive, it's a big organization, right? So drive the understanding of what we're all working on, the connection between R&D and commercial. So Nicole's organization and my organization. So I think you can also, you know, kind of pursue communications within a company as well.
I love that.
Great build.
Maya, questions are rolling in. She says, thank you to that. Maya wants to know, she says, I have a question for Nicole. You said sales at a big company is not cold calling. What would you say are the biggest aspects that you differentiate sales at a big company compared to others? Coming from someone who interned in a small firm and did tons of cold calling walls.
So I should say it is not always cold calling, right? And I can tell you a little bit about sales at J&J, and there are a number of different functions across sales in the consumer world. So you have the people that sell directly to a retailer. So I sat at CVS, I worked with a buyer at CVS in selling in new products, talking about what display we wanted to feature in store, what we wanted to be in the circular ad this week that, you know, lands in your mailbox. So that's one piece of it. And that's really business management, relationship building. It's all about the relationship that you have with that buyer in selling the product in. You could also be in a role that's either a sales strategy or a trade marketing role. And that's more internal. So it sits at our headquarters offices. And that's about developing the strategy from marketing. So taking what we want to do as a brand and translating it to the field. So translating it to our retailers and how you bring it to life in store. So that's an option within sales as well. And there's also other functions. So shopper marketing. So marketing at a retailer, that sits within sales at J&J. Category management, where the products land on shelf. So what your merchandising looks like, that's also within sales. So lots of options, not necessarily cold calling. Of course, I can't speak to lots of other companies, but at J&J, that's specifically the way we run it.
Awesome. I'm going to try to rapid fire get through some more of these. Oh my gosh, they're all rolling in. Okay. Julie, this is a question for you from Jessica. What types of questions did you ask in the informational interviews that you think may have gotten you into the next step of getting an actual interview? And follow up, how did you get the informational interviews to begin with? So what did you ask them to get to the next step, and how did you get them?
So the informational interview is a great tool because we all are looking for jobs and for our next opportunity. And it's a way to put yourself out there and start to learn about where you think you would be a good fit without saying, hey, I'm looking for a job. And I think that's really important because the more that you can articulate, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to be, these are the skills I have and how I can really grow your organization, the easier it's going to be for them to just pull you in and find the right fit for you. And sometimes the way to be able to get there to articulate that is you have to learn a little bit more about the company or the role or what people within that organization do. And so what I would do is I would go on LinkedIn, and I had a TA in organic chemistry that worked for L'Oreal. So I asked her messaged her, include a copy of my resume and say, I'd love to learn more about your current position and what it's like to work for L'Oreal. Do you have 30 minutes? Provide some times right up front that we can hop on the phone for an informational interview. And a lot of times it doesn't lead to like a job offer in and of itself, but it might lead to another connection of somebody else who's looking to hire somebody on their team. You've gotten your resume in front of somebody, and it's a way to start building this string of pearls of connections and networks within an industry that you're interested in getting in.
Amazing. I love that. All right, last question. I think for now we are running out of time. I think this is a great one. Allison wants to know, how did you each make yourself marketable to be able to obtain a career at a corporate skincare brand like Neutrogena? How did you make yourself marketable?
Julie, you want to start?
Sure. So I think there are two things. And this is also how we're kind of evaluated as employees. It's the what you do and it's the how you do it. And I think you should find ways to articulate both on your resume and when you talk to people in person. So the what you do is like your key accomplishments, like your GPA, different things that you've managed or worked on. And then the how you do it is the things that you articulate as like leadership-based skills. So some very cool things like the how I did is I had opportunities to give the commencement speech at Rutgers when I graduated. I had opportunities to present my research at national conferences and do a lot of different very cool feature things like that, where I made sure that was something that I drew a lot of attention to because it's something that sets you apart and makes you unique and different that a company like Neutrogena looks for.
Amazing. That's fantastic. Nicole, what about you?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was such a great answer. What I would build on is it's about the experiences that you have and how you present those as well. So get as many experiences while you can in school to be able to figure out what you like and what you don't like, and be able to speak with passion about what you do like in an interview. So I think, to Julie's point, getting some experiences that you set you apart and make you different and special and just you is really important for how you show up to companies.
Amazing. Well, we have so many more questions rolling in. I'm sorry we couldn't get to all of them. We are out of time, but thank you all so much for joining. Thank you for engaging in the chat. Thank you for asking your questions. Thank you, Nicole and Julie, for joining us today and sharing your wisdom with us. And thank you to our partners at Neutrogena for presenting today's webinar and making it all happen. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you
so much for having
us.
Awesome. Now, this is going to be recorded and available on generationhire.com by tomorrow at the very latest. If you want to come back and listen to it over and over again, it will be there available for you. Also, feel free to engage with us on TikTok and Instagram at Generation Hired on both platforms. We are here for you. We want to help you learn. We want to help you discover what you want to do with your life. And then once you discover what that is, we want to help you get there and we want to help you rock it. So thank you for joining today's seminar. Thank you, Neutrogena, for presenting it. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'll see you next time.